Welcome to the English with Kirsty podcast from www.englishwithkirsty.com. Here I'll be sharing with you tips, information and other learning resources so that you can improve your business English. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 70 of the English with Kirsty podcast. And today I wanted to talk about language exchanges in a bit of a different way to what I've done before. So before I talked about how you can make sure that your language exchange works well, and I do have an information sheet on that. So if you want that, you can go to the show notes page and request the information sheet about things to think about when you're looking for a language exchange and planning to meet up, that kind of thing. So you can request that if you go to the show notes page, which is www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast/episode 70. But today I wanted to talk more about my personal experiences, because I think sometimes people think that this idea of a language exchange is something for students and people who are studying and younger people maybe, but it's really not. If you want to improve your speaking and listening skills for business, you can also have a language exchange. Maybe somebody in your particular field would be helpful so that you can talk about the same kinds of things. Or just if the problem is that you feel quite nervous about speaking, sometimes it's just enough to have someone with whom you can go for a coffee or do something that you enjoy doing, or just have a chat. So don't think that it's not for you if your plan is to improve your business English, because really, if you feel a bit shy about speaking or you have problems understanding listening to native speakers, then a language exchange could really help you to grow in confidence and to practice some of those skills. So I've had a lot and still do have a lot of language exchanges. I don't suggest that anyone does that. I think it's good to have more than one, but you don't need to have loads. But I've been learning languages for about 20 years now, so I can look back on my experiences and choose different examples. But I would definitely suggest that you try to find, say, 2 or 3 people at once, because sometimes these friendships kind of fizzle out and people don't have time. So it's always good to be working with a couple of different people at least, because then you're not relying entirely on one person. So the people I chose to talk about today are all women. I didn't just have female tandem partners, because there were some guys who made recordings for me, audio files, and helped me with my homework, and I helped them as well. But I've had so many tandem partners, I just wanted to choose 6 to keep it manageable. So, and some of these, I think, the other thing to say is that some of these didn't actually start out as tandem partnerships. They were just people helping each other. We didn't say, oh, we're going to have a tandem learning experience. We just helped each other, and really that's what's important. So the first person I wanted to talk about was Tanja, and she's really helped me because she's really good at correcting things. So my writing, my German, I don't get everything checked, but if there's things that I really want to be good, or if I'm not sure about something, Tanya's got a really good skill for correcting and helping to make things sound good. So we don't meet regularly, but we help each other. So if Tanja has some questions about English, or if I need some help and I'm not sure about German, then we help each other out on a very kind of ad hoc basis. It's not structured at all, but assuming that the other person has time, we know that the other person is there and can help us out. So that's not the traditional type of tandem, but it's really nice to have, if you've got some people that you can ask and get their advice about whether something sounds right or not to a native speaker. It's really valuable to have. The next person I want to talk about is Sarah, and if you go to the show notes page, you'll see one of the things that we did when we met up. We decided to take tandem to the new level and have a holiday together. So for anyone who speaks German, I did write about this holiday. So the post is only available in German, but if you speak German, I will also link it on the show notes page. And that tells you a bit more about what we did. But we had fun. We spent part of the time in London and part of the time in Berlin, and we went horse riding. We had a barbecue and spent the whole time thinking it was going to rain because, you know, the wonderful English weather. So there was that. We went to this museum where the picture on the show notes page was taken that showed all the important buildings in and around Berlin, and you could have a look at those in miniature size. We went wine tasting, we cooked together, we did all kinds of things, and we just basically spent the week together speaking English and German and helping each other to improve our language skills, but at the same time doing things that were fun. And I think that can really help if you find somebody that you naturally get on well with, and you can find some activities that you enjoy. We went to the cinema, we watched some movies. You know, it's really good because then you've got that shared experience. For example, if you go to the cinema together, you can talk about the film, what you thought about it, what you thought about the characters. You know, you can have a really good conversation in whatever language if you've actually done something together. So you may think, oh, going to the cinema, there's no speaking involved, but actually one of you is watching a film in the language that you're trying to learn, and afterwards you can use that as a base for a discussion. So all these kind of things are really good. So that was not just a face-to-face meeting, but a holiday, face-to-face holiday, and it was a lot of fun. And the next person, number 3, these are in no particular order, although I think I've tried to put them in the order that I met the people, is Nathalie. Nathalie was in England for a while. She was working in London, and I can't remember whether I found her or she found me, but one of us had posted an ad somewhere to say that they were looking for language exchange partners. And yeah, we met up, and Nathalie had a dog back in Germany, and she really missed her dog, and I had a dog at the time, and yeah, we did dog walking, and I think we met up for coffee as well, but she came to visit us a bit further out of London, and we went for walks with my dog, and that was really nice as well because it was a chance to speak to each other, but also to do something that she was missing from her home country, because you know, you can go for a walk, but if you're missing your dog, then a really good thing to do is to find another dog to spend some time with. So that was nice. And we also found a group of people. They were having a language meeting, so we attended that as well together. So it was nice to turn up with somebody that you already knew and attend this group together. So that was fun. And for Turkish, Ayse, I found her on a website looking for language exchanges, but I didn't realize at the time that she lived virtually around the corner from me, so we arranged to meet in a mutually convenient place, and then found out that we basically lived a couple of roads down from one another, so that was funny. But we used the time to speak and do activities together. So we did cooking twice. I went to visit Ayse, and we made some soup. Actually, I'll include the recipes for some of the things. They aren't exactly the same, but I'll add some links to recipes here as well. So we cooked some soup, and then we cooked some meatballs, and during that time we tried to speak Turkish, or I tried. My problem with Turkish was that I understood much more than I could say. So on the level that I could have a decent conversation, it was quite basic. But if the other person was contributing to that conversation and telling me what they thought, then I usually understood them, but I just couldn't formulate my thoughts very well. So doing something where you're actually focusing on something else, like making the meatballs, was good, because it didn't feel like, oh, I have to perform, I have to speak, because we were making meatballs, and the talking had to happen because, you know, we're talking to each other as we were doing it, and it felt a bit more natural, a bit more relaxed, because we were actually doing something together. And of course you got delicious food afterwards, which is always good. Mehtap is somebody that had this really novel idea, and she said we were having an online language exchange, speaking Turkish and English, and she was helping me with my homework sometimes, but she said, oh, you know, the way to find out about our culture is through music. So she got a song, and we found the words, and she said, okay, your homework is to learn this, and we're going to sing it next time, which was hilarious. You probably had to be there. But yeah, I mean, whether you want to sing with your language partner or not, definitely music is a good way, and other people from other cultures can introduce you to the music that they like, and that can be a really good way to learn a bit more about a culture. Obviously people are going to have different tastes, so you might hate the music that they like, but if you don't, it's a great way to find out about some new artists and new songs, and also to try and work out what's being said, because it's a lovely feeling when you actually understand the words in a song. It feels really good. So yeah, we met once, but we mainly talked online, and then we had this music thing going on as well. And the last person I'm going to talk about is Sema. So that was probably the most structured language exchange I've done, because we arranged to meet, and we sat in a café, and we did an hour speaking German and an hour an hour speaking English and an hour speaking Turkish. And that we kept to that. So if it was English time, we only spoke English. If it was Turkish time, it was a bit harder, because Sema's English was better than my Turkish, but we tried only to speak Turkish. And that can be good, especially if there is a difference in abilities or a difference in confidence with your language partner. If one person is a bit shy or their language skills aren't quite at the same level, then it is quite good to have this time plan. So because otherwise you end up speaking in the language which is easiest for communication, and that can mean that the other person doesn't progress as fast. So it's really good. Sema wanted to try some English dessert, so we did that. We had coffee and we talked about all kinds of things, but we did try to keep to this 1 hour Turkish, 1 hour English idea. And of course there have been a lot of people that I've just spoken to online and chatted with, and they've helped me and I've helped them. But I just wanted to bring these 6 examples today to be specific about what we actually did, rather than giving advice about what people should do. So again, if you want to have a look at anything like the recipes or the photo, you can come to the show notes page, and you can also request my Effective Language Exchanges worksheet, fact sheet, which is more about general advice for people. So that will be a PDF that's available if you go to englishwithkirsty.com/podcast/episode 70. Before I go, I just want to mention what I'm doing in December, because it will affect this podcast. So in December, English with Kirsty is doing the 12 days of Christmas, and that will be from the 5th to the 20th of December, because it's not happening at the weekend, so it's only on weekdays. And every day there will be a different special offer for language learners. So it will either be something that is usually a paid service, but for this day will be free, or it will be something that is a paid service, but it's a lot cheaper than it usually is, so just for one day. So this is going to be available on my website. If you look at the website on these days, you will see the deal for that day. But if you want to be notified and not miss any of the deals, you can also sign up for the 12 notifications for these 12 different deals, and then you won't get any more emails unless you sign up for the newsletter as well. So if you're interested in the 12 days of Christmas, you can go to englishwithkirsty.com/Christmas, or I'll link it from the show notes page. You can get there either way. And then you just put your name and email address in there, and I will add you to the notifications list. So that doesn't mean you have to take part in anything. It just means you get the information about what's available, and then you can decide if it's something that you'd be interested in. And also, when these days are going on, there will be little podcasts coming out on this feed to tell you what they are as well. So if you are a new listener, you may think, what are all these podcasts? Why are they coming out every day? So this is only for December, and there'll only be 12 of them. They'll be shorter than the normal episodes, but they're only valid for that day. So if you listen to them 3 weeks later, I think I might take them off the feed, but if you listen to them while they're still on the feed, but it's a different day, unfortunately, it's too late. But if you do listen to your podcasts as they come into the feed, then you will know what's happening on that day. So I'll put them up, and also if you want to know what's happening in a written form, in an email, just subscribe to the special offers on the Christmas page. And as I said, this will only be something that's happening for these 12 mini podcasts, so that people know what they are. and after that I will remove them and we will go back to our weekly schedule. So the Thursday podcast will continue, but just in December there'll be a couple of shorter ones to explain what these special offers are for the 12 days of Christmas. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, you can use the contact form on the show notes page to contact me. And apart from that, I hope you have a good week and have fun learning English. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the English with Kirsty podcast. If you have any questions or comments, my email address is kirsty@englishwithkirsty.com, or you can go to www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast, where you'll find information about the individual episodes.